To a new contract. The deal is thought to be worth $750,000 for 1 year. No one really believed Schwartz would return to the Jags. He never really panned out as that dominating linebacker. But after the weekend draft, Coach Coughlin decided he needs Schwartz around. He holds the Jaguars team record for tackles at 481. The era of Holtz is about to begin at South Carolina. Tonight, the South Carolina Booster Club here in Jacksonville welcomed assistant coach Skip Holtz to town. He is the son of legendary Notre Dame coach Lou Holtz, who is taking over the Gamecock program. While Lou Holtz worked wonders at Notre Dame, Skip is quick to caution that miracles should not be expected right away in South Carolina.
Don't walk into South Carolina and turn the light on and say, okay, we're a different program. You know, we have the same players and everything else. What we have to do is we just have to do a great job of molding them and bringing them together. And how long it'll take, I don't know. This is not done overnight, and it's not done because Coach Holtz came. It's going to happen because there's going to be a group of young men in Columbia, South Carolina that are going to pull together and have confidence in one another and believe in one another and really start to become a team. And if we can do that, it could happen sooner than later. But, you know, there are no guarantees, and it's not going to happen overnight.
Well, Generation X has certainly made their claim when it comes to extreme sports, even coming up with their own kind of Olympic Games called the X Games. Now a new kind of extreme game hits Jacksonville's Memorial Coliseum, and it doesn't have anything to do with skateboarding.
We are here and proud to announce today that Jacksonville will be among the 9 franchises to compete in the inaugural season of the XFL, which will begin in April of 2000.
The new Extreme Football League has 9 teams from across the Southeast with a North and South division. 16 games on the schedule. 8 will be home games right at the Coliseum. The average cost per ticket will be about $10, a far cry from those NFL seats. Lizard Kings GM Sean Hegan is one of the masterminds in bringing extreme football to Jacksonville. He says of the goals of XFL, it's to keep local talent close to home.
One of the primary focuses of this league is trying to keep local players in local markets. The University of Florida does fall within our territory. We will certainly go after former Gator players. You know, JU is developing their football program now, so there may be some opportunities there as well. But, you know, that's something that remains to be seen. You know,
Michael Jordan may be looking for a way to build up the coffers. He became principal for a day at a local Chicago high school. Word is the only thing keeping Jordan from buying a share of the Charlotte Hornets is money. A newspaper in Charlotte says Jordan doesn't want to pay the $80 million asking price because he thinks his name will bring an added value to the team. Apparently, Jordan and owner George Shinn have already decided how to share the power. Money is the only sticking point. And that is sports for your Wednesday morning. Have a great day. Back to Kim at the news desk.
Thanks, Sherry. From the startling images in Littleton, Colorado, to the war in Kosovo, our children see violence on TV every day. So how can we protect them? We'll have some tips for you after the break. Stay with us.
When you see news happening, call our ABC 25 hotline, 332-NEWS, or star 25 on your Bell South mobility phone.
6:50 right now. Each day on television, we see the violence of the crisis in Kosovo. And it's difficult for many adults to understand, so you can imagine the confusion that many children have about all the bombings. ABC 25's Keith Kuntz gives us some pointers on how parents can explain the conflict to their children in this morning's Connecting with Kids report.
Bombings to the refugees to civilian casualties, news reports show the horrors now taking place in Yugoslavia. But just how much exposure should young children have to the harsh realities of war?
For a 10-year-old, the world is a small place, their front yard, their classroom. They feel safe, especially in their house, until they turn on the television and see images from a complex, violent war.
Pictures appear to be evidence of mass killings in the nearby village.
Barely noticed as the sick pass them by.
Kids watching this hard reality struggle with how they feel.
Not really scared, but I mean like sad. Well, but the people who are being killed and being raped.
And they struggle with the questions.
I just wonder, like, why the Serbs would do it, and they don't really have a reason for it, so why would they do it? And why would they call Clinton a murderer when he's not?
Parents are faced with the difficult job of answering those questions in a way a 10-year-old can understand.
How do you explain to a child who thinks goodness will win that sometimes evil wins?
And if your child tends to have difficulties with being scared, you're going to want to shelter them. You know, our kids today have to grow up so fast with so many different kinds of information that we didn't have to deal with growing up. So while they're more mature from a streetwise sense emotionally, they're still just 9 years old.
Experts say if these pictures are too much, screen what your kids watch, but remember, television can teach worldly lessons.
Again, it's part of the ambiguity of the world that we live in. That I do want her to know, that things are not always what they seem.
Experts say if you do allow your kids to watch coverage of the war, you should make sure they can handle it. If you notice they're having trouble sleeping, eating, or if they're overly clingy, you may want to reconsider your decision. For more information on helping your kids understand the realities of war, just write to us at Connecting with Kids at the address now on your screen, or you can fax us at 332-2418. And remember to include the topic of this report in your request.
From the ABC 25 Weather Lab, meteorologist Steve Gary.
6:53 in the morning, time for a quick review of today's forecast. The current temperature officially in Jacksonville, 59 degrees. So a very mild start under mostly clear skies. Humidity at 96%, the wind out of the southwest at 5 miles per hour, and the pressure at 30.04. 60s along the coast from Brunswick down to Mayport, 55 over in St. Augustine, 59, as we mentioned, and officially in the downtown area and back on up through southeast Georgia. Alma, Georgia checking in with a 59-degree reading this morning. Under lots of sunshine today. No rain shower activity for us. It's all going to stay well to the north of us as we stay under the influence of a large area of high pressure that's migrating a little bit more to the east. It's bringing up the southerly wind flow, and that's going to bring up warmer temperatures. The upper 80s today, very warm, and then tomorrow, hot stuff coming on in as we see 90-degree temperature readings rolling on into Jacksonville, coming on up by Friday and Saturday up to 91 degrees. By Saturday, nighttime lows in the mid-60s. Now, the next chance of rain, when is it, folks? Not until the first part of next week. It looks like we are in a long, hot, dry spell here, folks, for this week's forecast. I'll be back with more in a few minutes. Now let's go to the traffic center.
Your drive 10 east slows approaching the merger. The Town-Down Arlington Expressway slows approaching the Matthews Bridge. In Mandarin, 295 southbound is congested approaching 95. And in Orange Park, a stalled truck still blocks the center lane of 17 northbound intersecting Kingsley. Traffic sponsored in part by Albertsons. It's your store. From the traffic center on the South Bank, I'm Ashley Adams for ABC 25 Today. Kim?
Thanks, Ashley. 6:55 right now. There is a buzz surrounding the newest residents of one California town, even though these guys bring some sweet gifts with them. We'll explain after the break.
Ahead on Good Morning America, the carnage at Columbine High, an unthinkable tragedy. Students, parents, and America asks why. How could this happen? Charles Gibson and Antonio Mora will be in Littleton, Colorado with the very latest. And the eyewitnesses to terror, the students who got out alive, we'll meet some of them, find out how they survived. Then the so-called Trenchcoat Mafia. Had anyone seen the signs? A closer look at the men allegedly behind the massacre. Complete coverage coming up on Good Morning America.
Keep it right here on ABC 25 for the very latest developments on Littleton High School and the shooting there. Watch Good Morning America for more. Plus, we'll have a complete update on ABC 25 News at noon. Let's check in now with Steve Gary for one last look at the forecast. Tough situation out in Colorado. Tough to talk about, that and then talk about the weather,
Well, we got to do it. We got to keep going on and pressing forward, and that's one thing that's going to happen with our forecast. It's going to continue to get warmer. In fact, folks, the outlook today, hotter temperatures coming on in for you. Getting up to near 90 degrees in the interior sections. You can see on the daytime highs there, 89 the forecast high in the inland areas, 83 along the coast. You'll pick up a touch of a southeast sea breeze in the late afternoon hours along the beach, but fairly mild this morning with temperature readings near 60 degrees and lots of sunshine throughout most of the day. If you're headed out over the Atlantic, you'll find the winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet, and a light chop on the inland waters. The surf is flat, so a very calm day across the beach. Low tide this morning at 7:52 and a high tide coming up just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By the way, let's go to the First Alert Live Doppler radar real quick if we can, folks. There were a couple isolated lightning strikes way out off the coast of South Carolina. You can see it just on the right side of the live there. Just a couple little isolated sprinkles out there in the Gulf Stream. And that's the closest action to us here in Jacksonville. Of course, that will not be heading our way. We're going to stay dry under the influence of high pressure pretty much into the weekend.
Instead of looking at the lightning on the TV screen over
just
there.
See that one little blip out there. There was one little isolated
one.
shower out in the Gulf Stream off the Carolinas, and that's
Doesn't help us any.
Hundreds of miles away.
All right, thanks, Steve. Let's check in now with Ashley Adams for one last look at the commute. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Kim. In Mandarin, 295 southbound congested approaching 95, and in Orange Park, a stalled truck still blocks the center lane of 17 northbound intersecting Kingsley. Traffic sponsored in part by AT&T Digital One Rate. From the Traffic Center on the South Bank, I'm Ashley Adams for ABC 25 Today. Kim?
Thanks, Ashley. Hey, the buzz in Hyde Park, California is watch out for the bees. The bees showed up over the weekend at a recycling yard. A foreman there estimates there are some 5,000 bees in the swarm that just took up outside the facility. We'll see you back here at noon.